Hey everyone, what is, in your opinion, the key dividing emotion that separates sensors from intuitives? If you look at it on an emotional level, what emotion do you tend to see more in sensors, and what emotion do you tend to see more in intuitives? Now, I know emotions are said to be the feeling type's domain, but I disagree. I think that every one of us have emotion, and that emotion is vital to cognitive processing. Without emotion, there is no brain activity. There is nothing interesting. There is nothing that forces you out of bed in the morning. There is nothing that gets you going, nothing that drives you. We need emotions as incentives to our decisions, as our inner feedback mechanism that can alert us to when we are doing something that will hurt us and when we are doing something that will bring us joy and satisfaction. Emotions help warn us and they help ground us. And that means emotions have to be a key component to every personality type. And I have identified that sensors and intuitives feel emotions differently and are driven by different emotions. And the emotions that I see the most in the sensor type is actually kind of raw energy. Energy is like an instinct, an impulse that fires your brain into attention mode. When you have energy, you can listen, you can take in information, you can be in the environment, you can act, you can move, you can be the one that is taking it all in, drinking in the five senses and relating to and responding to it in the moment. If you are an intuitive, what you will find is that instead of responding to an energy as your primary component of incentive, your energy will come from excitement. Excitement and boredom are the key components to an intuitive type. An intuitive seeks things that bring excitement, and usually what brings excitement is novelty. When you see something you have never seen before, that drives the brain into intuitive mode. What is this? I have never seen this before. What does it mean? What do I use it for? Intuitives love the thought of something new and foreign. In general, foreign as something you don't understand and have never seen before. And for the intuitive, the option is to be bored. If there is no new stimuli, nothing interesting, nothing that kicks your brain into this mode, then you go into boredom mode. And here what I have noticed that is so interesting is a difference here between INFJs and INTJs compared to, say, ENFPs and ENTPs. What I've noticed is that INFJs and INTJs generally have a low bar when it comes to how excited and how bored they can get. I tend to find that INFJs and INTJs generally go from being a little bored to being a little amused. They rarely go into that excited, delirious mode associated with being an ENFP or ENTP. And they rarely go into that super bored, almost painfully bored level of, oh my god, get me out of here, I don't want to sit here for another minute. Usually what I find with being an INFJ or an INTJ is that I tend to surf in the middle. And often I tend to be in that state of the middle of just being amused. Amused by what happens around me, but not so excited that it triggers a huge response in my brain. Usually, it's more subtle to be an intuitive introverted type. It's more subtle when you are an INFP, an INTP, or an INTJ, or an INFJ. The differences tend to be less. But for an ENFP or an ENTP, the differences can be major. And managing the dips and the lows here can be difficult. Learning to handle being bored, I think, is more difficult for an ENFP or an ENTP. I can just look at my niece, for example, and I can see how hard it is for her to just sit still, in a sense that she wants to have action. And that's also just being an explorer type, being an extrovert. You want to have that new stimulus and you need more of it. And it's generally the key that I think excitement and what you get excitement from is usually also things that you get a little fear from. The more scary something seems, often the more exciting it is. It's like going on a roller coaster, you know, thinking about going on a roller coaster even. Because you can see how scary it is and you have no idea how it's gonna feel, and that's what usually kicks in that fear reflex. Fear is also like what the grounding emotion is for an intuitive. Intuitives have to weigh their fear against doing it, and they have to find a way to decide, is it worth it? Should I take the dive? Should I take the leap and explore this new thing, even if I don't know if I will survive it, even if I don't know what will happen, or if I can handle the G-force of being on this roller coaster? I think what we often associate with being a sensor, like going skydiving or like climbing up the biggest mountain and like that, pushing your limit in that sense, I think is rarely something an ESFP or an ESTP will do. Often what you will find ESFPs and ESTPs doing is they will explore, they will get raw energy. What they want is raw energy, raw visceral input, things you can touch, things you can hold, things that smell good, things that taste great. You want to have that sensory thrill, that sensory stimulus. As a sensing type, you seek to have activity, action. You don't seek to have excitement. You don't seek to have that level of, oh my God, am I gonna survive this? Am I gonna die? Am I gonna handle this? This is not the, this is a stereotype of ESFPs and ESTPs that is mainly false. Yes, you'll find more of the thrill seekers among the intuitives. Not to say all intuitives will be thrill seekers, just that there is a range where intuitives develop different coping mechanisms, different ways of achieving this high. And another way of achieving this high is, of course, to go into science and research foreign subjects, to go into video gaming and to get it that way. You can find many ways to get unknown or rare stimulus. You can find many ways to challenge yourself, and there are many things that can scare you. For example, travel, or for example, meeting a new person. It's not the case that all intuitives are high sensation seekers, but it's overall more common among intuitives to pursue this level, and it's like I've said in previous videos, I believe that intuitives are more likely to be sensitive types. Sensitive as in they have a stronger response to sensory stimulus. And because they have a stronger response, they have a higher desire to tune out. But this is the ideal response. If you are an intuitive and you have a higher response than average to sensory stimulus, overall what you tend to have is also a deeper response to it, and in many ways a more refined response to it. It's generally the case that intuitives have more refined senses, not as capable of handling a mass of sensory input and mass attention and keeping attention on sensory stimulus. But in the case that intuitives tend to have a more refined ability to divide and define sensory input. And this is often, I think, what gets us to have this refined palate for sensory thrills and sensory entertainment. When it comes to sensory pleasure, I think intuitives are more likely to have this stronger idea of what they want to eat, how they want to eat it, how they want to take it in. Like the whole approach to sensory stimulus is different. You have like this whole system behind how you want it, and it's very nuanced. As a sensitive type, what I tend to find is it's like sensitive types search for this very low bar of sensory stimulus that passes beyond being too little and too much. And they have this response that is a lot more nuanced. It's so hard for an intuitive type to find that perfect level of sensory stimulus, that perfect depth of sensory stimulus. Also, like getting that perfect taste that you crave, getting that perfect experience, getting that high. And I think that is the key to being a high sensation seeker. A high sensation seeker, while having this refined palate, has come to define and has often this balance between having days when they do nothing and having days when they jump out of Mount Everest and they go behind these highs, exploring these highs, often because, I don't know, they found that they don't want that constant balance of intake. But they want that bump. They want to have, when they take in sensory stimulus, they want to take it in a way that thrills them, that excites them, that pushes them to the edge. That's how they can feel alive. Because I think often an intuitive finds that this world doesn't feel completely real. There is something for a lot of intuitives say, what if I will wake up in 5 years and feel like this is all a dream? What if I will find out that this world doesn't actually exist? And I think how you can get that state of being alive as an intuitive type, what you have to do almost if you want to experience presence, is you have to take a leap. If you want sensory stimulus, you also have to have the thrill. Without the thrill, you can't get there because you don't pay attention, you don't have any energy, you don't have anything that signals to your brain that the world around you is interesting. And I think a lot of intuitives have that feeling that the world around them doesn't interest them, that the people around them bore them, that the situations they are in, the workplace they have, it's boring. So what they can have instead is they have this world of ideas that they love, and they immerse themselves in that. And it's a difficult struggle, but I think we all intuitives have to learn to find ways to get that sense of also being alive while being thrilled, and also finding ways to balance intake to avoid overwhelm and to avoid understimulation, because that's equally a problem. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, share or subscribe, and may your neurons be with you.